School gardens can have many different uses and have been seen in many different ways, some practical and some educational. Gardens are good for schools because they teach children the skills for survival. How to grow vegetables at school. An area for growing vegetables may be created in a garden of any size, from a large sunny plot to a few containers on a patio. Vegetables can be grown in a separate plot or integrated into flower beds. The ideal situation provides warmth, sunlight, shelter, and fertile, well-drained soil with an adequate water supply. Welcome to SUYA e-learning for food security climate change, school feeding program, nutrition education for all. When you have bad governance and poor accountability from your local government leaders, then you are doomed to live under control of cartels and fools. We hope you subscribe to our channel YouTube at SUYA Mombasa and share this links with your friends or family.
Milton Friedman quote: "Only a crisis, actual or perceived, produces real change. When that crisis occurs, the actions that are taken depend on the ideas that are lying around. The politically impossible becomes politically inevitable." It would be very true to say that as a leader I constantly have lots of ideas lying around, and that the opportunities presented by our current, very real, crisis have become the opportunity for change that I've been waiting for. It would also be true to say that having tasted how it could be if the changes became politically possible. We often instinctively think that individuals should be left to live their lives in ways they are convinced are most suitable to their self-understanding and beliefs. Interestingly, however, we equally think that the idea of living according to one's convictions and self-understanding does not mean endorsement of forms of speech that injure the dignity or the public standing of others.
Hunger is a political weapon. Hunger is a political weapon. Allowing school children to go hungry is immoral, disgraceful, a strategy, a weapon of war. Hunger Games. Save the Children describes starvation as a war crime. Hunger is demeaning, degrading. It makes people feel dehumanized, unworthy, too weak to stand up and fight for their rights. Hungry people don't vote. The United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, signed by almost every country in the world in 1948, enshrines the right of all human beings to live in dignity, free from hunger, food insecurity, and malnutrition. It defends the right to asylum, the right to freedom from torture, the right to free speech, and the right to education. Food insecurity, hunger, and inadequate funds in education has returned to Ethiopia again. It is now a growing problem in towns and cities across Britain. More than 1.5 million people in Britain often go a whole day without eating, Felicity Lawrence reported in The Guardian. Dr. Krapf, an explorer, linguistic and traveler, wrote the first dictionary of the Swahili language, translated the sections of the Bible into Kiswahili, Kikuyu, and the Kikamba languages. Cradle of education with little to show for it, St. Paul's Church, Rabai, Kenya. Rabai area, Kilifi position of farmers. No diversity of crops for local and export market. Lifestyle of people and earning capacity of community unchanged 178 years. The exact quote by Jomo Kenyatta on the arrival of Christianity in Kenya. When the missionaries arrived, the Africans had the land and the missionaries had the Bible. They taught us how to pray with our eyes closed. When we opened them, they had the land and we had the Bible. There has been an ongoing debate in the last couple of months about the hefty cash donations politicians make to churches and to individual clergymen in Kenya. There have also been debates about the impact of money on the relationship between the church and the state, and about by the political class co-opting church leaders. There is even talk now about politicians radicalizing thousands of angry, disenfranchised, jobless youth through cash donations and political and religious ideologies. In Kenya, money, ethnicity, and religion have apparently taken center stage in national politics in the last couple of years, and this could lead to seriously compromising the religious leaders' ability to stand up to the political class. Anglican Church of Kenya, ACK, Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit, while speaking in a multi-sectoral initiative against corruption in 2019, warned ACK clerics against accepting corrupt money. "Let us not allow Harambee money to become a subtle way to sanitize corrupt leaders," said Sapit.
These days, pastor is busy receiving money, doesn't even care where it's from. People dying, others hungry, but his mind, it's on how to get richer. It's on how to get richer. No more fishing of souls, they now fish dollar signs. Corruption, they won't speak. They won't speak. Bad governments, they won't speak. Everything is fine as long as they die. Our problem is not theirs, they only want the tithe. Reject the church, reject the church, reject the church. They stand in pulpits with pockets full of money, preaching humble living, yet living low.
Conflict breeds hunger. It can displace farmers and destroy agricultural assets and food stocks. Or it can disrupt markets, driving up prices and damaging livelihoods. In this vicious circle, conflict and lack of food break down the very fabric of society, and all too often lead to violence. What is the number one cause of world hunger, poverty, and inequality? According to the United Nations, hunger is increasing in many countries where economic growth is lagging, particularly in middle-income countries and those that rely heavily on international primary commodity trade. Poverty and inequality are among the leading causes of world hunger. Even though the world produces enough food for our global population, it can be out of reach for people living in poverty either because it quite literally doesn't reach their community or because they can't afford a diet with adequate nutrients. They are also more vulnerable to the effects of economic downturns and natural disasters, which can further exacerbate hunger. How is the cost of living crisis affecting mental health? The cost of living crisis is already taking a huge toll on mental health. Mind's own research has shown that nearly half of people say their mental health has been impacted by the crisis. And more than 1 in 5 are feeling stressed, anxious, or depressed.
The Commission acknowledges efforts to prioritize and address mental health concerns in the country through a number of interventional measures contained in the Mental Health Action Plan, 2021 to 2025, Suicide Prevention Strategy, 2021 to 2026, Mental Health Investment Case, 2021, and the recently launched National. The Kenya Health Policy gives directions to ensure significant improvement in overall status health in Kenya in line with the country's long-term development agenda, Vision 2030, the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and global commitments. It demonstrates the health sector's commitment, under government stewardship, to ensuring that the country attains the highest possible standards of health, in a manner responsive to the needs of the population. Food and nutrition security refers to a situation where all people, at all times, have physical and economic access to sufficient, safe and nutritious food to meet their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. 90% of a child's brain develops by age 5. At birth, the average baby's brain is about a quarter of the size of the average adult brain. Incredibly, it doubles in size in the first year and keeps growing to about 80% of adult size by age 3 and 90%, nearly full grown, by age 5. Benefits of healthy eating. Good early years nutrition also offers protection from illness and disease later in life. Healthy eating in childhood helps build a strong, healthy body and mind, while building a lasting positive relationship with food.
What a child experiences during the first years of their life has a lasting impact on the development of their brain. While genes set the roadmap, experiences create the neural connection inside the brain that sets the foundations of our emotions, language, motor skills, vision, and memories. If one region gets additional stimulation, the neural pathways within that area and the connections to other areas grow stronger. This process is called synaptic pruning.
A diet containing ample amounts of protein is associated with several mental health boosting benefits, including increased serotonin, or feel-good chemicals in the brain, reduced cortisol, or stress hormones in the body, balanced blood sugar levels, and improved mental clarity. Hunger is a political weapon. Hunger is a political weapon. Allowing school children to go hungry is immoral, disgraceful, a strategy, a weapon of war. Hunger Games. Save the Children describes starvation as a war crime. Hunger is demeaning, degrading. It makes people feel dehumanized, unworthy, too weak to stand up and fight for their rights. Hungry people don't vote. The United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, signed by almost every country in the world in 1948, enshrines the right of all human beings to live in dignity, free from hunger, food insecurity, and malnutrition. It defends the right to asylum, the right to freedom from torture, the right to free speech, and the right to education. Food insecurity, hunger, and inadequate funds in education has returned to Ethiopia again. It is now a growing problem in towns and cities across Britain. More than 1.5 million people in Britain often go a whole day without eating, Felicity Lawrence reported in The Guardian. Growing your own food is the most sustainable way to feed yourself and your family. When we grow our own food, we eat seasonally, locally, and sustainably. Growing your own food is like taking a master class in nutrition. Starting a garden. If you have a garden in your library, everything will be complete. Marcus Tullius Cicero. Life begins the day you start a garden. Chinese proverb. There are always flowers for those who want to see them. Henri Matisse. He who plants a garden plants happiness. Chinese proverb. More grows in the garden than the gardener sows. Spanish proverb. Gardening is cheaper than therapy, and you get tomatoes. Gardening is easy. Stick it in the ground the right way up and most plants will grow perfectly well. Monty Don. Most plants taste better when they've had to suffer a little. Deanna Kennedy. In Kenya, school-going children and adolescents spend most of their time in school, about 75% of the year, where they consume more than half of their daily meals. The school environment is, therefore, a suitable platform for promoting and providing healthy diets as a strategy to reduce the risks of malnutrition and realize the right to adequate food and nutrition for children as envisaged in the Constitution. Recognizing the critical role of schools in children's lives, both in education and nutrition, the government of Kenya and development partners initiated the school meal program in 1980, aimed at providing midday meals to children in public primary schools, especially those in arid, semi-arid areas and urban slums that are prone to droughts and food insecurity.
In the heart of Kenya, where food is more than just sustenance, it's a way of life, a revolutionary machine is about to change the way we think about making chapatis. Introducing the world's first automated chapati making machine, designed to bring tradition and innovation together. With precision engineering, this machine combines flour, water, and a pinch of magic to create the perfect dough, consistently, every time. The chapatis are cooked to perfection on a giant griddle, flipping and browning with precision, each one a masterpiece of tradition and technology. In just a few hours, this machine can produce 1 million chapatis, feeding entire communities and revolutionizing food production in Kenya. In Kenya, where chapatis are more than just food, this machine is a game changer. A perfect blend of tradition, technology, and innovation, feeding the future.
Essentially, your mindset refers to your beliefs, habits of thinking, and overall attitude when it comes to money and success. A rich mindset leads to behaviors that generate wealth, while a poor mindset leads to self-limiting beliefs and actions that sabotage your financial goals. A rich mindset is proactive and optimistic. Those who have this mindset believe in their ability to create wealth through hard work, ongoing learning and calculated risks, he said. They prioritize development, seek solutions and view challenges as learning opportunities. Social impact. People with a rich mindset are often able to create jobs and stimulate economic growth, which can have a ripple effect on the economy as a whole. They invest in their communities and make a positive difference in the lives of others. They understand that their success is not just about personal gain but also about making a positive impact on the world around them. This sense of purpose and impact are missing.
National Goals of Education Kenya. Foster nationalism, patriotism, and promote national unity. Kenya's people belong to different communities, races, and religions, and should be able to live and interact as one people. 2. Education should enable the learner acquire a sense of nationhood and patriotism. It should also promote peace and mutual respect for co-existence. Social needs education should instill social and adaptive skills in the learner for effective participation in community and national development. B. Economic needs education should prepare a learner with requisite competencies that support a modern and independent growing economy. This should translate into high standards of living for every individual. C. Technological and industrial needs education should provide the learner with necessary competencies for technological and industrial development with changing global trends. 3. Promote individual development and self-fulfillments. This includes development of one's interests, talents, and character for positive contribution to the society. A word from the Auditor General. Audit services and audit reports are critical in monitoring and evaluating the outcome and impact of the management and use of public resources, and providing valuable information on whether we as a country are achieving our developmental priorities and service delivery objectives. Our work is therefore very critical in enhancing accountability in the public sector, with the ultimate aim of transforming lives of the citizens. We are guided by the needs of the Kenyan people in asking for accountability on how their money has been spent by those in authority.
The money is sent directly to the constituency to fund local projects identified and implemented by the local communities. The Act also empowers the management of the fund to source for additional funds from elsewhere other than the government. The fund is managed and controlled through various committees and a CDF board. The overall decision-making body for the CDF system is the Constituency Fund Committee, CFC. This is the main policy-making body and sets the rules guiding the management of the fund. It is the final authority and oversees the implementation of the CDF Act. It is a Committee of Parliament and draws its membership from sitting members of Parliament. It operates at national level.
across the fertile soils of the Copper Belt, a new dawn rises. Led by a visionary whose heart beats for his people, Honorable Hartson Abeda, a leader, an innovator, a champion for the farmers who feed Zambia. This is not just a story about agriculture. It's a story about hope, empowerment, and transformation. For years, farmers struggled against the elements, battling the limits of traditional farming methods. But today, their fields are flourishing, their hopes rekindled by Mabeda's unwavering commitment to progress. Honorable Mabeda brought forth an initiative that has changed lives. A fleet of modern tractors made possible through the Constituency Development Fund. Where once farmers toiled under the harsh sun with only hoes in their hands, today they work with machinery that turns back-breaking labor into opportunity. His vision has given small-scale farmers once struggling to survive the tools to thrive.
This tractor was bought using CDF funds. The CDF funds are really helping farmers in various ways, farmers and the individuals in different ways. So this tractor I'm using here, it was bought by Area Member of Parliament for Kankoyo, Mr. Hudson Mabeta. My thanks go to him for having come up with these ideas. It's rare that a person can come up with ideas like this of buying a tractor to be used by the community. It's rare. Like this, agriculture will go a long way. Because people
Children eat more food when they prepare it themselves. Many factors influence human food selection, ranging from considerations of a food's taste and composition to the context in which foods are provided. From a public health perspective, this is important to study to more thoroughly understand the impact of involving children in food preparation and to design more specific recommendations for parents and educators about children's participation in food preparation activities. There will come a time when only those that know how to plant will be eating. Chief Oren Lyons. If you like African food systems content, please subscribe and share our channel with your friends and family. Or if you're new here, hit the subscribe button so you make sure to never miss our weekly presentation podcast. Agriculture is tool to create health, wealth, shelter, protect environment, food, nutrition and basic skills development for our local communities. You cannot force someone to comprehend a message they are not ready to receive. Still, you must never underestimate the power of planting a seed. I love this quote because the message is supportive of both sides, the speaker and the listener. This reinforces the premise that we each have the right to our own thoughts and opinions. We each have the right to take the time we need to think things over, to process information and make up our own minds in due course. Patience can be in short supply these days, and we seem to have lost the fine art of respecting each other. Time is an important factor when planting a seed, for just as in nature each type of seed has different germination timelines and nutrition requirements, human beings also have different timelines for processing information, which isn't currently part of their reality. School gardening interventions were predominantly used to influence school-aged children's knowledge, attitudes, and/or behaviors toward diet and nutrition, particularly in connection to increasing fruit and/or vegetable consumption. Access to and consumption of healthy, nutritious food plays a crucially important role in maintaining good health and well-being and is a fundamental human right. Global urbanization and accompanying detachment from traditional agricultural practices have accentuated the decline in access to healthy food, including fruit and vegetables, and by extension, the associated nutritional benefits. School gardens can allow for development of leadership skills, foster a sense of belonging amongst all involved, allow students to celebrate different cultural foods, help students of different backgrounds to connect over a common activity, allow students to organize themselves and work together toward a common goal, help to foster a sense of school pride, Promote sharing of harvest tools resources. Allow parents that may not have formal academic skills to comfortably participate in a school activity. Reduce discipline and classroom management problems. Assist with the development of endurance, flexibility, and strength. Encourage students to eat more vegetables, fruit. Key mechanisms included embedding nutrition-based and garden-based education in the curriculum, experiential learning opportunities, family engagement and participation, authority figure engagement, cultural context, use of multi-prong approaches, and reinforcement of activities during implementation. National Goals of Education Kenya. Foster nationalism, patriotism, and promote national unity. Kenya's people belong to different communities, races, and religions, and should be able to live and interact as one people. 2. Education should enable the learner acquire a sense of nationhood and patriotism. It should also promote peace and mutual respect for co-existence. Social needs education should instill social and adaptive skills in the learner for effective participation in community and national development. B. Economic needs education should prepare a learner with requisite competencies that support a modern and independent growing economy. This should translate into high standards of living for every individual. C. Technological and industrial needs education should provide the learner with necessary competencies for technological and industrial development with changing global trends. 3. Promote individual development and self-fulfillments. This includes development of one's interests, talents, and character for positive contribution to the society. The secondary agriculture teaching aids. Develop an understanding of agriculture and its importance to the family and nation. Promote interest in agriculture as an industry and create awareness of opportunities existing in agriculture and related sectors. 3. Demonstrate that farming is a dignified and profitable occupation. 4. Enhance skills needed in carrying out agricultural practices. 5. Provide a background for further studies in agriculture. 6. Develop self-reliance, resourcefulness, and problem-solving abilities in agriculture. 7. Develop occupational outlook in agriculture. 8. Enable schools to take an active part in national development through agricultural activities. 9. Create awareness of the role of agriculture in industrial and technological development. 10. Enhance understanding of the role of technology and industrialization in agricultural development. 11. Promote agricultural activities which enhance environmental conservation. 12. Promote consciousness of health promoting activities in agricultural production.
Earthworms are vital for good soil. They aerate the soil as they move by burrowing small holes. They process organic matter in their bodies and return vital compounds to the soil, increasing the nutrients available to plants. Let's take a closer look at how earthworms benefit your garden. 1. Improve soil nutrient availability. Earthworms help create humus, which is a dark brown-black type of soil that holds important nutrients in place for plant growth and use. The worms feed on plant debris such as manure, grass, leaves, and dead roots, as well as the soil. The digestive system of the worm concentrates the mineral and organic compounds in the food they consume, so their casts become richer in available nutrients than in the soil around them. When worms die, the body of the worm decomposes rather quickly, which further contributes to the nitrogen content of the soil. 2. Better drainage. Earthworms also improve drainage and prevent soil erosion and waterlogging, as their extensive channeling and burrowing help to loosen and aerate the soil and improve soil drainage. Research has found that soil with earthworms drain as much as 10 times faster than soil without earthworms. 3. Improved soil structure. The casts of earthworms help to cement the soil particles together. These sticky substances glue the mineral particles together in the aggregates, and at the same time, in a kind of mutual relationship, the mineral particles help to protect the organic matter to some extent from microbial attacks, thus preserving it for a longer time in the soil. When your soil has worm castings, they help to improve the structure and fertility of every type of soil, even on reclaimed land that has little or no topsoil. As the castings are water-soluble, they have an immediate positive impact on plant growth. Now, how to attract earthworms to your garden. If you have no earthworms or very few, attracting them to your garden can allow you to take advantage of all their benefits. Add organic material. If there are few earthworms in your garden, it may be because your soil is compacted or low in organic material. You can add chopped leaves, straw, grass clippings, dead roots, semi-decomposed compost, and animal manure to your garden, which will allow worms to thrive. Earthworms feed on soil and dead or decaying plant remains, including straw, leaf litter, and dead roots, as well as animal dung. Earthworms prefer damp and cool environments, but not too dry, too wet, or too cold. The thicker the soil canopy, the easier it will be to maintain those desirable conditions. Earthworms don't like acidic soils with pH levels less than 4.5. The addition of lime will raise pH while also adding calcium. They need a continuous supply of calcium, so are absent in soils lacking this element. Maintain a no-dig or bare minimum dig. The less digging, the better. Just dig enough to get new plants in. The earthworms do all the soil churning and turning. You can also consider to purchase earthworms, or you can take them from your worm farm and add them to soil. Now, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. And if this is your first time visiting my channel, please subscribe for more videos.
The extensive channeling and burrowing by earthworms loosens and aerates the soil and improves soil drainage. Soils with earthworms drain up to 10 times faster than soils without earthworms. In zero-till soils, where worm populations are high, water infiltration can be up to 6 times greater than in cultivated soils. Can worms be beneficial? Mutualistic helminths help regulate immune function, stimulating our body to build regulatory networks of immune cells that decrease general inflammation without hurting our immune system's ability to respond to danger. General learning outcomes for middle school education. By the end of middle school, the learner should be able to apply literacy, numeracy skills, and logical thinking appropriately in self-expression, communicate effectively in diverse contexts, apply digital literacy skills appropriately for communication and learning in day-to-day life, practice hygiene, appropriate sanitation, and nutrition to promote health, explore, manipulate, manage, and conserve the environment effectively for learning and sustainable development, demonstrate ethical behaviors and exhibit good citizenship as a civic responsibility, demonstrate social skills, spiritual and moral values for peaceful coexistence, demonstrate appreciation of the country's rich, diverse cultural heritage for harmonious coexistence, manage pertinent and contemporary issues in society effectively. By the end of the topic, the learner should be able to A. State the sources of water for the farm. B. Collection, storage, pumping of water. C. Describe water treatment and explain its importance. D. Define irrigation. E. Explain the importance of irrigation. F. Describe methods of irrigating land. G. List the equipment used in irrigation. H. Grow a crop through irrigation. I. Borehole drilling equipment and facilities. J. Define drainage. K. Explain the importance of drainage. L. Describe the methods of drainage. M. Explain how agricultural activities pollute water and how this can be prevented. Soil and water conservation. By the end of the topic, the learner should be able to A. Define soil erosion. B. Various factors that influence erosion. C. List the agents of erosion. D. Describe various types of erosion. E. Various methods of erosion control. F. Carry out soil erosion control measures. G. Describe water harvesting and conservation techniques. H. Describe microcatchments and their uses. I. Design and construct a microcatchment. Mulching is the process of covering the topsoil with plant material such as leaves, grass, twigs, crop residues, straw, etc. A mulch cover enhances the activity of soil organisms such as earthworms. Characteristics of a good mulch. The ideal mulch is economical, readily available, and easily applied and removed, stays in place well, and supplies organic matter to the soil, yet is free of noxious weeds, insects, and diseases. By the end of the topic, the learner should be able to A. State the sources of water for the farm. B. Collection, storage, pumping of water. C. Describe water treatment and explain its importance. D. Define irrigation. E. Explain the importance of irrigation. F. Describe methods of irrigating land. G. List the equipment used in irrigation. H. Grow a crop through irrigation. I. Borehole drilling equipment and facilities. J. Define drainage. K. Explain the importance of drainage. Describe the methods of drainage. M. Explain how agricultural activities pollute water and how this can be prevented. School environments can create healthy settings to foster children's health and well-being. School gardening is gaining popularity as an intervention for healthier eating and increased physical activity. We used a systematic, realist approach to investigate how school gardens improve health and well-being outcomes for school-age children, why, and in what circumstances. Competency-based curriculum. The competency-based curriculum, CBC, in Kenya has emerged as groundbreaking in the education sector. It introduced a fresh perspective on how students acquire knowledge and skills, placing a strong emphasis on core competencies.
Subjects for upper primary, 6 years, English, Kiswahili or Kenya Sign Language, Home Science, Agriculture activities, Science and Technology activities, Mathematics, Religious Education, CRE/IS/HRE, Creative Arts, Physical Health Education, Social Studies. Pre-primary, 2 years, Language activities, Mathematical activities, Environmental activities, Psychomotor and Creative activities, Religious Education activities. Lower primary, 6 years, literacy Kiswahili language activities, Kenya Sign Language for learners who are deaf, English language activities, indigenous language activities, mathematical activities, environmental activities, hygiene and nutrition activities, religious education activities, movement and creative activities.
Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. STEM is an approach to learning and development that integrates the areas of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Through STEM, students develop key skills including problem solving, creativity, critical analysis. STEM learning is about using maths and science to tackle real-world problems. Children are encouraged to use their own creativity and curiosity to do research, run tests, and design solutions. STEM education is a teaching approach that combines science, technology, engineering, and math. Its recent successor, STEAM, also incorporates the arts, which have the ability to expand the limits of STEM education and application, according to STEM Education Guide. STEAM is designed to encourage discussions and problem-solving among students, developing both practical skills and appreciation for collaborations, according to the Institution for Art Integration and STEAM. There will come a time when only those that know how to plant will be eating. Chief Oran Lions. If you like African food systems content, please subscribe and share our channel with your friends and family, or if you're new here, hit the subscribe button so you make sure to never miss our weekly presentation podcast. Agriculture is tool to create health, wealth, shelter, protect environment, food, nutrition and basic skills development for our local communities.